It's safe to say I love traveler notebooks, and I recently acquired Love and Trip in what I think is probably the last release of the year. This was from release number 3. With this, I have a special edition traveler, 2 regular edition travelers, 2 Galen travelers, and a Mishmash traveler. So let's set these up for 2026 and talk about the differences between them, because while they are all pretty similar, there are some differences between brands. And I think it's important to talk about that because they are all at some very different price points. And it's nice to know what the similarities and differences are before you spend your money. I have these arranged from lowest price to highest price because that's a big factor when you're deciding on a notebook system or really anything. The Mishmash cover is only available in Europe currently, it seems, but it does retail for €10 for a recycled leather cover. That approximately translates to about $12 US. All prices for this are going to be in US dollars because right now the Canadian US exchange is insane, and so everything's just going to be in USD for the sake of simplicity. Next up are the Galen leather covers. I only have the passport size from Galen, and these are also both seconds. As seconds, they cost me $17.50 US. If you're buying non-seconds, they are $29 US for the covers without any additional add-ons. Galen does offer some add-ons like hand stitching around the edges, which I do think looks really nice. It's just never in stock when I want to go order something. Then we have the traditional traveler's passport cover. These are where you see the first jump in price. These are $50. I bought mine secondhand, and I bought this one secondhand as well. So my brown was bought secondhand, and then my olive, which retails for $60 US, was also bought secondhand. And the one thing I don't know is which release of olive this was. Olive was originally a limited edition color, and then they brought it back into the normal lineup. My olive looks a lot more brown than the olive currently available, and so I do wonder if this is an original release olive, but I'm actually not sure. And you can really tell how much I use this cover. It recently got some white stuff on it. I don't actually know what that is. And then we have Love and Trip, which I absolutely, utterly adore. I said I didn't need it. I held off the first 2 releases, but I've added it to my collection. I might end up selling some of my other covers, but we'll have to see what happens in 2026. This was the most expensive cover I've added to my collection. It was $72 US. I could not get it at any of the Canadian retailers that I normally shop at. It was selling out so quickly, and so I did end up ordering it in the US, shipping it to a US address, and then having a friend ship it to me because I could not get this locally. Travelers just placed restrictions on ordering special edition items to other countries, which meant that I could not have this shipped directly to me. But I did manage to get my hands on it, and I'm very happy I did. It also comes with the limited edition notebook and a very suede-y inside. My olive is not nearly this suede-y on the inside. That being said, do I think it is $12 nicer than my olive? No, especially because you do see travelers covers secondhand, which is how I got these 2. And I think secondhand I paid $45 Canadian for mine originally. So that translates to about 37 US. And I don't know that this one is nearly twice as nice as this one. I do really like the color though. So for now, I have them all. I figured if I didn't get it, I was probably going to pick it up on the secondhand market, so it was worth the buy. I would say that out of all the journals, these 2 styles, so the Galen and the Mishmash, are actually the most different. In the Galen, you have the elastic bands connected directly into the journal, and you don't need the separate elastic bands like you do with a normal traveler's. It's also ever so slightly bigger than a normal passport from Traveler's Company. It's about a ½ inch 3/4 of an inch bigger, which does mean that if you've stuffed it full, like how I've stuffed this one full, it doesn't peek out over the edge, which I do really like. And then the other big difference is with the Mishmash one, it is recycled leather. And while it does still smell like leather, it also has bands for the books that are connected to the books. So unlike with a normal traveler's notebook where the bands are, you can see how old these notebooks are. This is dead stock, by the way. It's not going to be perfect. It's dead stock that I got my hands on because these are not available in North America currently from anyone. They don't have a distributor. I managed to get my hands on some dead stock of them because I wanted to try them out. So I suspected that like over time, these are going to rust. They're metal. It's going to happen. The notebooks aren't sewn in any way, shape, or form. The paper, as you can see, is just like loose. I don't love that. I'm going to end up using embroidery floss and keeping the notebooks together, but I haven't got an embroidery floss yet. So the plan for today is simply that as we take notebooks out of this, because I really think the blue ones are the prettiest band colors, and so I'm keeping the blue with the notebook, we're going to clip them. And then at a later date, I'm going to embroidery floss them together. For now, though, we're just going to clip them and keep all the pages together. So I'm going to take this apart and then we will start the setup process. So all of my inserts are clipped so that I have all the pretty blue bands on here. I did think that I had 2 of these blank inserts in it. I don't actually. The back one is this really great gridded insert. The other good news is that the rust stains are only on a single page. So I might just take out a page from each of them and call it a day, but we'll have to see. The one thing that I don't like about the Mishmash system is that the covers are really cheap. The inserts are really expensive. I think right now, how much are the inserts? The inserts are anywhere from like €5. Sorry, €5. So what's that? $7-ish to their yearly calendar is 10, which is the same amount as the cover. So that's $12 US. So the inserts cost almost as much as the cover does. Whereas in Travelers, the cover is really expensive, but the inserts are inexpensive. Now I'm talking through it though. The Travelers inserts cost almost the same as the Mishmash inserts in USD. It's just the fact that the covers are so much more expensive makes them seem less expensive. That's crazy. All right, we're going to leave this one out because I might actually use it. These 2, on the other hand, are going to go away. I'm not going to use them. The other thing I'm not going to actually use are my passports. I like my passport setup currently, and I'm not going to change it. These 2 really only get used for pen shows or for events where I want to have very specific setups. Day to day, though, the setup I've got in here works really well for me, so I'm keeping it. I did, for a while last year, have this set up as a calendar. That did not work. We are not doing that again this year. We are going to do something else. So I still need to figure out what I'm going to do for my sort of calendar setup when it comes to a passport system or a traveler system, because I do like having a traveler's calendar, but it didn't work the way I did it last year. And so it's going to involve some tweaking this year. That leaves us with 3 covers and a pile of inserts and stuff. So I am going to figure out sort of the breakdown of where everything's going. I do also have new charms for my Traveler's notebooks. I do have a couple Traveler's charms, but I've also got a Coffee Monster Co. And then I recently did custom charms, and I will leave the details for the custom charms I did down below. But I'm going to figure out the layout for this, and then I will come back for a flip through. So there we go. I ended up putting my garden planner from 2025 in here and a blank one for 2026 because we will be starting planning 2026 imminently. We've actually started looking at seeds and planting spaces already, so I need a blank planner to start with. I did really like this in 2025. It was great for just keeping track of everything, and it was a good reference over the season, though eventually I did stop printing out pictures. So I will have some pictures to finish updating in this. This Travelers has the roastery charm from Japan on it that Rob's Penworks picked up for me, as well as a Coffee Monster Co. charm. I'm gonna have to see if I can get this white stuff off with a little bit of leather cleaner. I don't actually know what it is. I think it must have been from my bag when we were going to maybe Empire. That stuff got on it, but I honestly don't know what it is. So I ended up moving everything that was in this one into this one. I would really like a Traveler's Wallet insert from Galen. They're never in stock though, and so I haven't been able to add one yet. And I did end up putting 2 of the charms on this one. So we've got one up here and one here, and I will leave Harper's contact information down below. I did end up buying these when we were at the Royal, but I went in knowing I was getting them for my journals. And I'm very happy that I did end up getting them because they are very cute, they're very personalized, and they have a whole lot of meaning behind them. Inside we have my zipper pouch, business card folder, the cardstock folder. I did put in the Mishmash calendar thing. I will say the Mishmash inserts are slightly shorter than the Travelers. They're like just less than a 1/4 inch shorter, so they're ever so slightly shorter. And then we've got a Traveler's grid and the accordion I use for pen show stamps. I'm really bad at getting stamps at pen shows, but I do try. And I like having them all in a Traveler's insert. And then we've just got the rest of it. But I do really like this sort of setup. And I like moving it to the red because it means I'm going to use the red more. Finally, in the Mishmash, we have all the baking inserts, including the passport one, because I keep losing the passport one. I don't like having it in 2 journals, but at the time I first set up the passport one, I was only using a passport. This one is basically full, but there are some recipe tweaks in here that I just haven't transferred over to our cookbook or into the bigger size Travelers. And so we're just gonna stick it in here for now. And this is actually probably going to move up to the kitchen shortly because I don't need it in my office. Where it's actually useful is upstairs. So it's going to move upstairs. The other 2 are going to live on my desk, and my passports are staying the same. So let me know down below, is this how you would have set them up? I do like having one that's like very practical and everything, and then 2 or others that are more like broken down into specifics. But it's always interesting to see how other people have their Travelers set up. And are you a Traveler's journal person? I know some people aren't. I know some people are. I wasn't for a long time, but I love having the short, small notebooks because I used to give up on notebooks all the time and I don't anymore. So for me, this has been a great system and I'd love to hear what you think down below. Have a great day and I will see you tomorrow.